Hey there, have you ever felt like you know someone, but then a whole new story about them comes out that changes everything? Like finding out your favorite movie star wasn't always so famous, or that someone you thought was new to town actually knew all your friends way before you did. Well, get ready, because that's exactly what's about to happen with two very famous ladies, Meghan Markle and Sarah Ferguson, also known as Fergie. Imagine a secret book, a book filled with stories that only one person knows, stories about how Meghan really met her prince, the quiet times no one saw, and the truth about why her friendship with Fergie went bad. This isn't just whispers anymore. It's like a big, loud bell ringing, and Fergie is holding the rope. She's a tough lady who's been through a lot, and she's ready to tell everyone what really happened. It's going to make a lot of people think differently about Meghan's royal story. So grab a comfy seat, because this is going to be good. Sarah Ferguson is finally ready to tell everyone the real story. All of it. She will tell the truth about how she really met Meghan, the truth about the secret moments no one else saw, the truth about the important groups they were both a part of long before Meghan married Prince Harry, and most importantly, the truth about what made their friendship fall apart. This isn't just a quiet talk. This isn't just a guess. This is Fergie, a woman who has gotten through many big problems that would have made anyone else give up. She's stepping up with honest words that can change what everyone thinks about the royal family. Because while Meghan made a new life, a new look, and a story she carefully put together about how she joined the royal world, Sarah Ferguson was watching. She saw the true start. She saw the first moves. She saw her become famous. And she saw problems starting long before anyone else knew. And now, with nothing left to lose, Fergie is ready to speak. Her story doesn't begin when Meghan got married. It starts many years before, in places Meghan never thought anyone would talk about. And once Fergie starts to tell that story, it becomes clear why her voice, more than anyone else's, is the most dangerous thing Meghan Markle could ever face. Sarah Ferguson has always lived close to the edge of the royal family. She was close enough to see all their secrets, but far enough away to feel their tough punishments. She has gotten through big problems, money troubles, and public shame many, many times. Each time she found a way to smile, get back on her feet, and keep going. But now, people who know say something has changed. For the first time in her life, Fergie is standing on the edge of a tall cliff with nothing behind her and nothing in front. Her fancy title doesn't mean much anymore. Her ex-husband, Prince Andrew, causes more problems than he helps. The royal family is moving away from her, and the rich, important world she once lived in has become a cold, lonely place. And when someone gets to that point, they become dangerous. That is why people close to the royals believe Sarah's book, where she tells everything, isn't just a guess. It's a warning shot, a message to the palace, to the newspapers, and most importantly, to Meghan Markle, because Fergie hasn't forgotten how Meghan treated her, and she hasn't forgotten the secrets Meghan hoped would stay hidden. A woman who has nothing to lose is a woman who can tell everything. Before Meghan even stepped into Kensington Palace, she was already hanging out in some of the most fancy places in the world. These were places full of very rich people, important lawmakers, and high-up royals, and she didn't just stumble into these places by accident. At the middle of that world was Marcus Anderson, an important person at a club called Soho House. He was known as a gatekeeper, someone who could decide who got to hang out with important people and who didn't. He reportedly helped Meghan get invited to special dinners, fancy parties, and groups with powerful connections. Then there was Ron Burkle, a very rich man who owned a private jet and knew King Charles very well. Stories say Meghan flew on Burkle's private plane to a wedding in Jamaica. This is a quiet piece of information that tells a very big story. Think about how different that is. Harry flew in a regular plane with other people, while Meghan arrived on a private jet. People like Fergie notice things like that. That world notices who comes with special treatment and who doesn't. And Meghan was already entering rooms with advantages many people never thought about. So when people say Fergie knows Meghan's friends, it's not an overstatement. She knows the people. She knows who introduced them. She knows who opened doors for Meghan long before Harry did. And most importantly, she knows the kind of Meghan that existed before the palace cameras started rolling. That is the story she can write about. Long before anyone knew there were problems in the royal family, the first small troubles quietly started between Meghan and the York women. To understand why, you have to know how that group works. Beatrice and Eugenie grew up inside the royal system, but not always in the bright spotlight. They knew the rules, but they also knew how to make fun of them. They were friendly with famous people, but careful with strangers. They grew up watching their mom, Fergie, get through many years of people judging her. So when Meghan came into that world, they were nice and welcomed her. They understood the excitement. They understood the craziness. They understood what it felt like to be the new person in a world with very old rules. But then something changed. People say Meghan started to pull away, not slowly but quickly. She made a distance between herself and the York sisters, especially after she felt secure with Harry. Talks that used to be friendly suddenly got shorter. Invitations were not answered. And the feeling that they were all equal slowly turned into something colder. By the time Meghan and Harry got used to their new royal jobs, the problems were too big to ignore. Meghan supposedly treated Eugenie and Beatrice as if they were not as important as her. She thought they were tainted by their family's problems, overshadowed by their parents, and not important to her new image. That way of acting didn't feel right. Not to the sisters, not to their friends, and certainly not to their mother. This growing distance would later become a very important part of the puzzle, because when Meghan later completely stopped talking to Fergie, that old anger didn't go away. It snapped, and it set the stage for everything that will happen next. Everything could have ended quietly. Fergie could have just stepped back, lived her peaceful life, and disappeared from the royal spotlight. But the moment that changed everything wasn't a problem, or a newspaper story, or a fight in front of cameras. It was a phone call that never happened. People who know what happened say that when Sarah Ferguson reached out to Meghan Markle one last time, looking for help, advice, or even just a friendly voice, Meghan didn't answer. She didn't send a message, she didn't call, she just disappeared. And this wasn't a gentle fading away. This was a hard, on-purpose cutting off. People who know say Meghan wanted distance. Distance from the York family. Distance from Andrew. Distance from problems. Distance from anything that didn't fit her new, perfect image. In Meghan's world, Fergie was not needed, not helpful, too messy, too complicated, too connected to things Meghan didn't want to be a part of. But by cutting Fergie off, Meghan made a mistake bigger than she knew, because Fergie isn't just another royal. She's a woman who knows where the important doors are, who opened them, and what was said in the rooms Meghan would rather forget. Cutting off a person like that isn't just rude, it can be dangerous. And it was this moment, this quiet, disrespectful moment that people say turned Sarah Ferguson from a former friend into a woman ready to speak. This is what started the fire. When people hear tell-all, they think of small gossip, silly stories, maybe a few embarrassing moments. But that is not the kind of book people who know believe Fergie is getting ready to write. Her book would be sharper, older, and full of the kinds of details only someone who was there behind the scenes would understand. Here are some of the secrets she could tell. 1. Meghan's past way of living and her reputation in fancy groups. There have been quiet talks for a long time about how Meghan acted in high-end social places. Not bad in a criminal way, not against the law, but certainly not the fairy tale picture the palace tried to show. 2. Meghan's supposed early interest in Prince Andrew. This comes straight from people who know from the gossip world. Meghan, before she was with Harry, reportedly showed interest in Andrew before changing her mind. Fergie, who was still very involved in Andrew's life, supposedly stopped that right away. 3. The problems caused by that meeting. Moments like these don't just disappear. They leave marks and they create long, slow, angry feelings that quietly grow between families. 4. The private jet trips and the people who made them happen. Things like flying on Ron Burkle's jet, helped by Marcus Anderson, paint a very different picture of Meghan's early rise, one that Fergie saw. 5. Tom and Skip and why he wasn't at the wedding. People say Harry's own friend knew too much about Meghan from years before. Fergie supposedly knows the full story about why Meghan didn't want him at the wedding. When you put all these pieces together, you don't get a simple book. You get a weapon that can change Meghan's past, change her image, and challenge the story she has worked so hard to control. And Fergie, pushed aside and ignored, just might be ready to use it. While all of this is happening, something strange is going on inside Buckingham Palace. Silence, not saying no to the rumors, not saying everything is fine, not supporting Meghan, just a cold, planned quiet. People who know say King Charles is willing to talk with Fergie, willing to make her happy, calm her down, give her just enough to stop her from writing bad things about the royal family. His past is long and full of complicated things, and he knows a tell-all book from someone like Fergie could show problems in places he doesn't want looked at. Prince William, however, plays a different game. He doesn't give in. He doesn't worry because, unlike others, he has nothing to fear from Fergie's memories. But this difference in how they plan creates tension. Tension the public never sees. Tension Meghan probably never thought about. Because if the palace feels a tell-all book can't be stopped. If someone has to take the blame, if a person's good name needs to be hurt to take attention away from bigger problems, it won't be Charles, it won't be William, it won't be Camilla, it will be Meghan, a woman the royal family doesn't need anymore, a woman who walked away, a woman who wouldn't do what she was told. And if Fergie becomes the voice that causes that downfall, the palace has every reason to let the problems hit her instead of themselves. That quietness, that stillness isn't calm. It's a plan. Imagine a quiet morning in Montecito. The sun is coming up, the air is still. Meghan is going about her day, thinking the world is finally calm around her again, thinking the noise has stopped, thinking the royal years are behind her. But far across the ocean, in an old house full of old memories and unfinished stories, Sarah Ferguson begins to write, not just because she's angry, not just for money, but because for the first time in many years she can. She can speak, she can tell secrets. She can finally show what she has seen over many years, private moments and quiet truths that no one ever heard. This is like a big storm gathering in the sky, quiet, heavy, and impossible to stop. And Meghan, who once was very good at making herself seem new, now faces something she cannot change, cannot run from, or charm her way out of. A woman who has got through one problem after another. A woman who knows the old royal world and the new world. A woman who has watched Meghan become famous in places she herself once ruled. A woman who feels betrayed. Fergie's tell-all wouldn't just show Meghan's past. It would challenge her image, her marriage, her royal story, and the version of herself she showed to the world. And the scariest part, Fergie has nothing to lose but Meghan. Meghan has everything. As this storm gets closer, one question hangs in the air like thunder waiting to break. What happens when the woman Meghan thought was not important becomes the one who can rewrite her whole life story? Only time will tell. But one thing is clear. If Sarah Ferguson speaks, the world won't just hear a story. It will hear the truth Meghan never wanted told.